Hi everyone, you're all very welcome back to another podcast episode. This week we will be looking at carbohydrate, low carb diets specifically, and underactive thyroid. We will try to understand the connection between nutrition and thyroid health. So once we get into this presentation, I hope it will become a little bit clearer for you the relationship with low carb and an underactive thyroid. So first we need to understand your thyroid's role. The thyroid will regulate metabolism, energy, and hormone balance. Hypothyroidism may lead to slower metabolism, fatigue, weight gain, and brain fog. Now we're going to look into the low carbohydrate side of things a little bit more and how they can affect your thyroid. Severe carbohydrate restriction can reduce the active thyroid hormone, more commonly known as T3. I will explain in a slide why this is more commonly known as T3. Low insulin levels may also signal that the body will try to conserve energy. Chronic low carb dieting can slow metabolism further. So as you are ingesting very little carbs, there's not much carb stores in your body will start to go into conservation mode because it is a protective mechanism. Okay, so this will slow your metabolism further, which may already be reduced due to having your hypothyroidism. Okay, carbohydrates and T3 production. So there's T3 and T4. Those in combination are basically known as the thyroid hormone. So as I mentioned, T3 is the common name, and you can see why here. Okay, this is a bit of a mouthful. Okay, so the full name is triiodothyronine. Okay, so T3 will rely on adequate glucose availability. If we are having low carb can lead to less conversion of T4 to T3. This may increase reverse T3, which will block the active thyroid effects. So you're going to get a reverse of the process that you're hoping to happen by having a low carb diet. Super restrictive low carb diet, that is. Okay, so why some people with hypothyroidism struggle on low carb? Fatigue worsens due to low energy availability. Reduced glycogen can lead to more water loss, can then lead to a misleading scale drop. So the readings you get may be misleading in your interpretation of them. Your hormone balance may also be disrupted. Cortisol, stress hormone, and also leptin, our fullness hormones. Okay, so we need to try to have a balanced approach mindset when looking at your fitness regime, nutrition regime, to try and help yourself with having an underactive thyroid. Okay, so try to include moderate carbohydrates, whole grains, fruit, starchy veg. Avoid excess restriction. Focus on good quality sources. Whole foods first. Okay, ensure adequate calories, proteins, and macro and micronutrients. Okay, focusing on that balanced approach will really help you. Some super important key nutrients for thyroid function. Now, most people, if you're eating a balanced diet with whole foods, you will be ingesting most of these nutrients, but I just wanted to put them in here as a further piece of education for you, just to make sure that you're aware of these. Okay, so we've iodine, seafood, or iodized salt, selenium, which is in Brazil nuts, eggs, zinc is in meat and seeds, iron, red meat, leafy greens, and then we have vitamin D and vitamin B12, which you should supplement if you are low. But just make sure that you are talking to your medical professional before supplementing any additional vitamins like that. Okay, some practical tips. Okay, really useful practical tips. Track your energy, your mood, and your weight trends. Okay, tracking all of these over time are far more accurate than a one-off standalone reading, especially if we look at the last point there. Most people will weigh themselves once a week, not like what they see, and weigh themselves the following week, and then maybe because they've gotten a bad reading, they don't weigh themselves for another month. Okay, but your weight will fluctuate and vary day to day for a wide variety of reasons: hormones, fluid shifts, sweat, muscle gain, fat loss. There's a lot of factors that go into your weight and the number it gives you on the scales. So you should track the trends of your weight on average for a more accurate reading. Okay, try to reintroduce carbs gradually if your metabolism has slowed. This can help prevent excess weight gain. Work with a coach or a dietitian for some thyroid safe nutrition if you feel that your nutrition is an area that is holding you back in terms of the progress that you want. Some references included there. So there's the Institute of Medicine, there's a thyroid hormone metabolism and action. Stan Efferdine has a report, and a few more there. If anybody is interested in some external or additional reading, feel free to look up those references there as well. Okay, and just a final message to finish up. So low carb isn't always low quality, but I hope you can understand that the key message here for thyroid health: balance. Balance is absolutely key. Okay, so try to fuel your body, not just your goals. So this can be a difficult one for somebody who is maybe struggling to lose weight or wanting to lose weight. You've heard a lot about low carb diets and the benefit for fat loss, but not realizing that this actually may be having the opposite effect that you want if you are trying to manage an underactive thyroid as well. Okay, so as always, I hope this podcast was useful. If anybody has any follow-up questions or is unsure of any of the parts that I discussed, or would even like to discuss relating this to yourself and your own journey, please feel free to reach out and send me a message, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Okay, but as always, thank you for your attention, and I look forward to seeing you all on our next episode.